Hello and welcome back to the Psycho Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm Tess Brigham. I'm the therapist.
And I'm Brooke Brigham. I'm the attorney.
And we are back today with Sister Wives, Season 19, Episode 24, Blessed Are Those Who Mourn. And, obviously last week's episode was very emotional. And this episode, I think, is even more emotional.
Mm-hmm.
I cried at least 3 times. Cody and I cried together at one point.
Oh, special.
It was a special moment between the two of us.
Yeah.
But this was hard. This was hard.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I thought it was just going to be confined to last week and that was going to be it. But it kind of seems like it might be the rest of the regular season.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. I mean, this is a huge part of their family experience and history. I just didn't know if they were going to want to share that much about it, but apparently they are.
Yeah.
So,
they really are.
Yeah, they're being very, generous with their sharing because they don't have to, but, this episode we got to see a lot more about Garrison's personality and the children growing up together, how close all the siblings are. So should we just start?
Yeah.
Start at the beginning here. So it's just a couple weeks later and we're at Maddie and Caleb's house and they're talking about planning the memorial, and Janelle says that his birthday just passed and that was really difficult. And they talk about how the Browns have deep roots in Wyoming. That's where Cody's family is from. And that's where his father, Wynn, and Janelle's mother, Cheryl, are buried there. And so they decided that they wanted to bury Garrison there as well. And he also, he and the other boys, and sounds like maybe Maddie and some of the other kids maybe went there many summers in a row to learn hard work and,
I'm sure it was hard work. Yeah.
Be on the farm and be with their grandparents. So they have fond memories of doing all that.
What's interesting, and I don't know if this is just because of how things are being shot, but how in these last couple of episodes, how separate things have been with Cody and Janelle. Do you know what I mean? They have not had a couch with the two of them sitting together talking about it. We see Janelle doing all of these things with Maddie and Caleb and then Savannah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Cody lives in Flagstaff too. Why not go with Cody too? We'll talk about this at the end.
I think she's quite angry with him, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just curious about if you noticed that, because I was like, this is interesting that even at this moment in time, the two of you are still very disconnected. But is that just what we're seeing, or is that really the truth? That's my question.
Yeah, I don't know. It could just be being edited that way. Obviously, they've had conversations.
Yes.
They say we decided to so they're having conversations about the important things. But yeah, they are still very separate, just as they were before this happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's why Janelle, put the final kibosh on the Cody relationship. Because she couldn't get over how he treated her boys.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that she doesn't really want to film with him, or she's probably just doing the bare minimum with him.
Yeah, probably. Anyway.
Yeah. So, then Cody's talking about how he just wants to take Garrison home, and they're going to combine this with a family reunion. And it's during the time when all the townspeople of Lovell, Wyoming, come back for this big once-a-year thing. Remember, this was in a past episode?
Yeah, we've seen this. Yeah.
Yes. Where they had that kind of reunion with Cody's high school friends. And it was Cody's big homecoming.
Yes. Yes. And no one was surprised at all by Cody's life and how he, maybe they're surprised about the polygamy part, but not about who he was as a person, the showboating, I'm the center of attention, all of that.
Yeah, they confirmed that he has always been a showboat.
Yes.
Yes. So yes, this is all centered around that one festival. So I think it was Janelle who was talking about how, it was really important to them to raise all of their children as siblings, because not all polygamous families do that. And she said, in fact, some of them don't even interact at all, which we've come to learn. And she also talked about how cremation is not typical in that religion, but that's what Garrison wanted. And Caleb and Maddie say they also want to be cremated, but Janelle wants to be buried. She's already got her plot right there next to Garrison.
Oh, God.
Oh, there's
so awful.
I know, just talking about it, like, obviously it's hard to see her, you look at her talking about it so matter-of-factly, and it's not matter-of-factly, but she's gotten it together to talk about it matter-of-factly, and you just think, God, I don't even know if I could. I mean, this is a couple weeks later, and you're able to talk about it without crying. And
well, she did say that his birthday just passed, and that was really hard, and she started to tear up.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying anything negative about her. I'm saying that she's very strong and stoic, and
she says all the women in her family are like that. Savannah, Maddie.
Oh yeah.
And what was her mom's name again?
Cheryl.
Cheryl, that's it. Yes. All right. And is this when we go to Salt Lake City?
Yes, this is when we go back to Christine's. And I had kind of forgotten about this because David's wife took her life.
Yeah, I forgot about it too until he mentioned it, until you were there. What I was thinking was, I'm just so happy for Christine that she has someone who's supporting her. I mean, if she was still with Cody right now, there would be nothing. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like David takes such good care of her and is so good for her. That's all.
Yeah. And she talks about how she thinks of Garrison every day. Nothing is the same.
Yeah.
And then she talked about how much he loved Truly. And they flashed back to when he built that planter box for her so that she could have her own little garden. And then David and Christine talk about how they're going to do the same planter boxes in their backyard. But yeah, David talks about how it's been 14 years since his wife died. And he said his wife and several of his friends took their own lives. And David gets very emotional. He starts crying. And he says sometimes that he feels like he let his kids down.
Yeah, lots of guilt. Yeah, it's very like, what could I have done differently? What happened? Any of that.
Yeah, and just juxtapose how, look what it took for Cody to open up to people. David is still new here. He's being very vulnerable and opening up and showing his feelings, sharing his feelings, and just very different. I mean, like I said, it took a lot more than that to get Cody to. A lot longer than that to get Cody to open up.
I also thought David did something I thought was very, people always wonder, like, how do I act around somebody who's struggling with, when they have a loved one who has taken their life. And I just noticed that he said something to Christine. They're playing cards and he said, "Oh, tell me about him." It was really not, it was like, yes, that's exactly what you want to say. Tell me about him. Not, you shouldn't feel this way, not negating the person's feelings, but I want to hear more about him. I didn't know him very well. Tell me more about him. I don't know if the producers fed him that line, but I thought it was very kind and exactly what people need in these moments.
Yeah. And David said that I think Christine first brought up something about counseling, and David said, well, yeah, all the kids need counseling.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, no, he's a good resource for her. But yeah, so I guess Garrison was just starting nursing school.
Yeah.
Like he was in his first semester of nursing school. And that was one of the things I guess Christine talked about. And she's just very, very sad because she says she's never going to be a grandma to his kids. And, she obviously that's her son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll never see him get married. I'll never be a grandmother to his kids. I'll never. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, David is the perfect support for her. So
Yes.
she's lucky to have him.
All right.
Now we go to Parowan.
I really think that Jen is Mary's soulmate. And I really think, I don't feel like it needs to be a sexual relationship, like they need to run off together. But I do wonder, I often want to say to Mary, like, just find a guy. Just find some guy that you can spend time with, go to dinner, hang out, have sex, do whatever you want to do. You don't need to find some, like, you got Jen.
Jen is your person.
She's your person. So let's just stop. Like, let's stop trying to find some man for this and just find a man for the things Jen can't do.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to find someone who fulfills all of your needs. So.
Yes.
Just find a man that you have fun with. And, Jen is the one when shit goes down, she's there to help guide you.
Yeah. And she's the one that's sitting there talking to you and wants to, right? And the two of you just find everything so goddamn funny. Right? Like they just laugh about everything. They're just having such a great time. I'm thinking, why are you wasting your time trying to find, this soulmate? You found him. It's Jen, just Jen.
Just Jen. Yeah. And they're looking around, at Lizzie's. God, that place is so, it's like the 18th century in there. It is so, yeah. And then that sparks a joke about, do the carpets match the drapes? And they're just laughing. They're just so wacky together.
Oh, yes. Wacky.
Yeah.
But Mary talks about how everyone was finally together except one person. And, she can't believe this is what it took for us to all get together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we see Cody talking a little bit about Garrison. And Garrison, he made this comment about that Garrison was someone who could lighten the mood, was very good at like making the funny quip, lightening the mood, saying the funny thing. And then he said that Garrison was always trying out jokes, always trying. And I think that my interpretation of that was, I think that Garrison of all your kids gave you the most shit. And I think that he did poke you a little bit. And I don't think you liked that. That bothered you. And I was wondering, like, that sort of trying out jokes. Like, oh, is that how you perceive that? Could be wrong, but
I think he's just trying to put a positive spin on the stuff. Yeah, I think I can remember specifically, scenes where Garrison called him out on his shit.
Yeah.
And I think he did that a lot. And I'm sure Cody didn't like it.
Yeah. Well, I think Garrison, of anyone, I think a lot of those kids had his number, especially the older ones. But I think Garrison was the one that was the only one that maybe vocalized it. Vocalized a lot of what people were thinking and feeling. And Cody didn't like that. And I think he did it on camera too, which Cody really didn't like.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, this is where we see Garrison with the flower bed and how they're going to use it for their yard, and how Janelle says this, that he was always very involved with all the young kids. He would go over every day to see Ari and Saul. Wow.
Yeah.
And he loved working with his hands. Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear that about Ari and Saul.
Yeah.
Did Robyn not notice this?
About how they were so rejected by everyone? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds real rejecting.
Yeah, but he really did love the little kids. I think he and and Hunter. Was Hunter the other one, or was that Garrison who had? I guess it was Garrison that always had a special relationship with Truly. I always thought it was Hunter too.
Yeah, because remember when Hunter, when they moved to Las Vegas and he was feeling really badly, and he would always go over to Christine so he could just hold Truly and made him feel better.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then we see this Chiron, which is 4 months later, and I'm like, oh, thank God. Okay. Let's get to, I said some time has moved, because I was just like, I don't know. This was rough.
Well, it's still rough.
Yeah, we're still here. I understand that, but I'm just telling you, my initial thought was, oh, okay, maybe some time has passed. Oh, and I'm not disagreeing with Kody at all. You cannot run from grief. This first thing he says, you cannot run from grief. I'm with him 100%. It was just that moment of like, oh, am I going to, a reprieve? Same thing that people who are grieving are feeling. Just a little bit like, oh, there's a moment. Oh no, we're back.
Yeah. Well, Kody says that after the military funeral, and we've seen pictures of this military funeral, and there's all kinds of speculation online about what happened at this military funeral. Was Kody actually really invited? Did they really want cameras there?
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if any of it is true, but there's people, sister wives, reporters online who are claiming that, the family really didn't want to have this filmed, but Kody and Robyn showed up all mic'd up and everything. Like they thought they were going to be shooting a scene, and Kody didn't like that he wasn't sitting next to Janelle. And, I don't know. This could all be just complete rumor.
But isn't this also, there was something that happened that Kody and Robyn did during this service that then Mykelti was like done with them?
Yeah, Mykelti, I think, said something on her Patreon about how after they did something at the funeral, she, was upset with them about it. And maybe it was because they did show up there wanting to film. Maybe that was it. I don't know if she's talking about this funeral or the later funeral that happens in Wyoming. I have no idea. But yeah, it was a little weird because Janelle was on the end, and then Hunter was sitting right next to her. Then Kody's mom, then Robyn, then Kody. So Kody's like, 6 deep in, it's like, it did seem a little, and maybe she didn't want to sit next to him. And she said, no, I want.
Well, yeah, I mean, she takes an end seat. Hunter sitting next to her. That's no.
Yeah. That's like making some boundaries.
Yeah.
So, but then he says after the military funeral, he had left Garrison's ashes with a family member, and he went to pick them up to take them to Wyoming. That's such a weird, left them with a family member. Who'd you leave them with, and why?
Probably like one of the kids or something. Like, I don't know. I think he's just being weird. But then it's like, were you driving around with his ashes in your truck? Like, just. Well,
yeah. Robyn said that they drove up to Wyoming and they had a special passenger.
Yeah. Oh, no, that makes sense. They were going to Wyoming. They're taking him there. But it was just like, you know how Kody likes to take those long drives. I mean, which is fine. If this is his process, this is his process.
Yeah.
But here, this Wyoming trip I thought was very odd for many reasons. One is, why was it just the two of them? Do you know what I mean? It was this weird thing that's like almost, why just this one pocket of the family? And it's one of those things where I get the sense that maybe Kody said, I want to take Garrison home to Wyoming. And Janelle's like, okay, well, I'll see you there. Or something. Or, oh, I'm not getting on a road. I mean, if I'm Janelle, I'm not getting in a car with those people. I totally understand that one with Robyn and Kody.
Well, who else would go with? Who else is going to ride with them? I think they wanted their own special segment.
Okay, maybe.
I think Kody said to the producers, or maybe they suggested it to him, but someone said, hey, because no one else is going to want to film with them. But, why don't your family, because you know how he refers to Robyn's kids or Robyn's family. He even said that. Robyn and our kids, and or something.
Mm-hmm.
He refers to their little unit, except Dayton is not there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we'll ever see Dayton again. I mean, he clearly doesn't want to be part of this. So I think they wanted their own little thing because they clearly set this up to maximize Cody, the emphasis on Cody.
Yes. And I'm thinking to myself, even in this man's grief, I want to just throttle him. This segment, this town, if you didn't think you were going to get any laughs in this episode, oh boy, you got a lot of laughs. This was utterly exhausting. I think this is why Saul's so tired all the time. I mean, this is why this kid looks so drained. Like, oh God.
I actually think Saul and Ari are hilarious. And Saul is hilarious in his own silent way, like his eye rolls. Like if you watch him, he's got these eye rolls and these expressions. And then Ari, she just comes out and she just says, like, what the hell? What is this? She's really funny, actually.
Well, they go to this town, and I guess they start. First, we see them. So they're in Cody with the C, Wyoming, which is about an hour from Lovell.
Right.
But Cody describes the town of Cody. This is his, how did he describe it? This was his stomping ground. This was his, getting crazy on
chasing women.
Yeah, this is the oof. Did I miss a note here? No, I know I wrote that down about him talking about how this is my town,
Yeah, it's his stomping grounds where he went to chase girls or women or whatever he said. But
there are cowboys there. Cowboys are cool. Oh, it was a whole thing. But they're eating ice cream. And this is what I thought was funny was that he says, "Oh, do you guys want to see the 2 coolest signs I sold in this town?" And Ari's just licking the ice cream going, "Yeah, sure. Okay." I'm just as long as I can have my ice cream. The other kids are just kind of like, okay. And then he proceeds to, dear God. I mean, I think Ari thought we're just going to walk outside and he's going to point to 2 signs and that will be it. It was like, no, it was a seminar, a lecture, a salon. Cody was holding a salon for these poor people to have to sit there. And I mean, okay.
And then
he sold 2 signs.
I know. He said he sold a total of 25 signs, but these are the 2 coolest ones that he showed us.
And the rest are shit, people. Sorry.
Yeah. But he's bragging, explaining about the signs, but he says he didn't design them. He just sold them.
Yeah.
Okay, well then why are you so enamored with the signs if you who did design them?
I don't know.
I don't know. But everyone is bored, and the producers are trolling him because they're playing that music that's like do 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 while he's just talking, and everyone is like looking around, looking bored. And then when he finally stops talking, and he's like, "Okay, let's go," and then Ari goes, "Finally."
Yeah. Well, he does say, "I love to brag to my kids," and I mean, oh God. This one of the comments he made was, "Do you see that? That's oozing class. It's oozing class."
Wow.
And here's the other thing too. How many other sign sellers are there in this town of Cody with the C? Do you know what I mean? Like how, if you're working for this or manufacturer of the people that you have connections with make really cool signs, and you're one of few people to get a cool sign, Cody, you're just the middleman. Well,
he said that. He says, "I'm just the chump in the middle." So he's clear on his role, but that's not going to stop him from, bragging about the signs. And yeah, so this is what he did, I guess, the whole time they lived in Wyoming.
Yeah.
He just went around to these small towns selling signs, and then they go into one of the establishments, the saddlery.
Yes.
Where they make saddles. And I had no idea these saddles are so expensive. Like a typical one is $15,000 to $20,000.
Yeah. We know this because of our aunts. I mean, horse stuff is expensive. It's an expensive hobby.
Really, 15 to 20. That must be just custom.
Yeah.
Like a total custom made, custom design, fancy one. I mean,
but I bet you probably going to the store and buying one is probably like $3,000, $4,000.
Oh, yeah,
maybe
at least.
Educate us. people. I mean, I guess we can ask some of our family members, but this is hands down. And I wrote this line down verbatim. I wrote this down because this was the best line, the entire thing, which is, Cody's getting super excited. He's talking to the owner of the saddlery, and, he's like, oh, Ari's getting really excited. Because I guess Ari must like horses or something. And she's kind of interested in all this. And, Cody and this guy are talking. And this is his comment. Ari is picking up on a lot of the excitement and enthusiasm both Keith and I have about the experience that we shared. Psych Legal Pop will be back after these messages.
I know.
And I wrote a note that says, does it always have to be about you? Does it always have to be about you? Can't Ari be excited because it's cool and it's a neat experience and she likes horses and, she loves you, Cody. That's okay. But she's excited only because she's picking up on the energy of him having a conversation with another adult about a sign that was sold to him 25 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is all about him. And he really does that. Yeah, he's obsessed with impressing his children.
Yeah.
And you can see he's got this new generation of children. He's just got to impress, right?
Yeah.
Because the old ones have all got his number. They're all, they're like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, he's got this fresh batch of, and Aurora and Brianna are barely hanging on, they're barely hanging on to that kind of adulation, of Cody era.
They're just thinking about their church. They're just, can't wait to get back to church with my friends.
Can't wait to get back to church and, meet some more boys. I mean, that's really what they're thinking about.
Well, it'll pose an interesting question of what's going to happen when Ari and Saul get older and older and aren't so invested. And again, I think that that's one of the things about Robyn that he loves is the fact that, she has always been, whether it's real or fake, enamored with him. She doesn't indulge all this shit. She does. Yeah. She always has. And that's one of the things about Cody that drives me crazy is when he gets so defensive of Robyn's my soulmate. I love her so much. It's like, maybe she is, maybe, I don't know. But quite frankly, it's so obvious that, you fell in love with her because she was enamored with you and made you know that.
And continues to, whether it's real or not. I think she fakes it a lot.
Yeah. I think she fakes a lot. She fakes a lot of shit here. And you can tell even from this tour of the town, she's just asking, okay, great. That's great, Cody. Oh, what a sign. All right. I mean, she's barely hanging on. She's barely hanging on too.
And she spent a lot of this time, doing her counselor Robyn routine, where she's talking about how she's worried about Cody and she's trying to explain the grieving process. And death can really change a person. And she hopes he finds a healthy way to grieve. She's just using all these, psychobabble words.
Oh, yeah. She said held space. I've been holding space for Cody's grieving.
Where did she hear that? Where did she hear that?
I have not seen Wicked. Is it Wicked? No, it was the interview about Wicked. Wicked doesn't talk about holding space. It's about some interviewer that was holding space.
Ariana Grande and oh yeah, she was saying that the interviewers was telling Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, did you guys know that there are people out there holding space for you? In what context that had to do with Wicked, I forget. I don't know, but that whole term holding space, when people say that, I'm like, okay.
And we're woo-woo. We're Californian woo-woo. And if we are rolling our eyes at holding space, that means it's bad.
I thought holding space was just letting someone just listening to someone.
Yeah.
Not saying anything, just kind of letting them listen, letting them talk and you listen and you go, and, and not trying to say anything. So I think it was used out of context in that.
Well, I can see if you're holding space for Cody's grieving, which means I'm talking about
the Wicked. I'm talking about
Wicked.
Still on the Wicked thing.
Oh, sorry.
What were they holding space for?
I haven't seen the play or the movie or anything. So I'm like, is there a song called Holding Space? Okay.
No, it was people who were there was so many people were so emotional about that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was something about holding space for just, I don't know, the strong feelings of the movie or something. I don't know. Someone explain it to me. I don't know. But yeah, Robyn's using big words and
lots of big words, lots and lots of big words.
And they go on a stagecoach ride.
Oh yeah, they're all excited. The stagecoach is there, and then
So they go to a Wild West show that gets rained out.
Yes.
But yeah, and then this is where Cody talks about, talking about cowboys and that basically, like, he's named after Buffalo Bill, whose name was William Frederick Cody, and he was a showman and an entertainer. So this sort of tracks.
Yeah, well, Win from birth, Win was like showboat.
Showboat. This is my showboat kid.
This is my showboat child.
His name is Cody.
And then, but he didn't want it to be the same as Cody with a C, so it was Cody with a K, much like a Kardashian.
Right. Exactly. It was way ahead of his time.
Yes. Little did he know.
Yeah. So then, they talk about how they're going to the ranch tomorrow, and then they're going to have this graveside service. And
so now it's all coming together for me. I'm sorry. I think I wasn't getting this before. So now I understand. So everybody is in Wyoming. Everybody's in Wyoming. Everyone's in Lovell. We just don't see any of them. We just see these guys. Okay. Right. I was like, this is so weird. Is it only the 5 of them? Or
no,
6 of them that are doing this?
Everyone's meeting up tomorrow.
That makes a lot more sense. I understand this a lot more than I did before, because I was so confused. I'm like, why are they just there to draw? Like, what is happening? It felt very out of place. It really did. And I think it also shows something too about the family, which is 10 years ago, if this was happening, then we would see maybe Isabel or another kid, Gabe, like, this is so divided, so divided that, because usually in these little stories, there were kids from all different moms all together.
No, they are their own island.
Yeah, they really are.
They don't do anything with anybody. This will be very interesting to see if they show it next week. I assume they are, because they're building up to it. Everyone together and like just how they interact, and sure, it'll all be very respectful and whatever. But yeah, think about this. This is so traumatic to begin with, and then you've had this trauma of the separation of the family, and this is a lot. It's really a lot. Yeah. So then we see Janelle and Savannah packing up their apartment to go to North Carolina, because Savannah's going to go to school. She's going to move in. Everyone's moving in with Maddie.
Yeah. Maddie and Caleb.
Poor Maddie.
So they're real motivated. Actually, they're real motivated to get those houses built.
Yeah.
It's happening real fast.
Yeah. So, so they're packing up, and this is where Janelle talks about how all the women in her family are very stoic. And that Garrison, he had these 3 cats that he adopted, and he adopted all of them from a shelter in Flagstaff called Country Humane. And after this tragedy happened, people all over the world, all over the country, all over the world, wanted to donate money in Garrison's name because of his love of cats and cat rescue and all that kind of stuff. So this Country Humane got so much money that they dedicated a room in the shelter to Garrison. And there's a plaque on the wall with a picture of him and his cats, and honoring him. So Janelle and Savannah want to go and see it. They've never seen it before.
Yeah. And this was very emotional. So emotional that Janelle, I think we saw Janelle, like, she couldn't even ask them, she had to get Savannah to finish the sentence for her.
Yeah.
So this shows you how much she is. If Janelle is this shaky, I think that's the part. It's like, it's easy to kind of see Janelle and not think anything of it, but my God.
Yeah, because she is always so stoic. And We're not used to seeing her like this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Savannah really stepped up in this episode. I think this is the most I've heard Savannah speak,
Mm-hmm.
collectively, like forever. But, she really stepped up, and she's very, kept it together, was very
Mm-hmm.
articulate. And, and the woman who was the director there, who showed them the room and was talking about everything, she seemed very emotional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, she
She's,
must have known him or had some
well,
interactions
yeah,
with
he
him.
adopted 3 cats from there, and I think he would probably go there and just
Yeah,
kind
I
of
think Garrison went there a
hang
lot
out.
to hang out with those cats.
Yeah.
So I
So
think they very much knew him. Yeah.
yeah, and I think the people in his nursing class and his nursing program maybe started this, because they mentioned that his fellow nursing students wanted to find a way to honor him, and I think they may have been the ones who started this. Probably started it online, saying, "Hey, this is the place where he went," and then
Mm-hmm.
everyone started donating.
Which also
Um,
tells you something too about him. Where how far into nursing school was he? Like
he's
he
in his
just
first semester.
so that tells you a lot. Like first semester, first semester of your first year of nursing school, you're 2 to 3 months in, and people wanted to honor. I mean,
Yeah, they barely knew him.
yeah, but he obviously made some kind of impact.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
so
so that's Liz showing, so that she takes them to the room that's dedicated to Garrison, and it's a cat adoption room.
mm-hmm.
So the people who want to adopt can go in there and be with the cats, and the cats can meet them and get to know them and feel comfortable. And she said they got $25,000 in donations, and with that money, they were also able to do 36 cat adoptions in the month of March and waive all the fees, because
Yeah,
it's paid for all that. And Janelle was genuinely touched by
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Um,
Because I mean, my guess would be is it sounds like I don't think they offer these cat adoption fees to everyone. I think that if you have a need and you
right.
say, I'd love to adopt a cat, I can't afford the fees, I think that's huge for them.
Yeah.
Because my guess would be is they probably have a certain number of each month they could do this many
Yeah.
free adoptions. So this one, it was, 36 people and 36 cats that got a home faster than they normally would ever because
Yeah.
of him.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I've heard of a lot of other of the Sister Wives content creators say that they're going to, donate a portion of their ad money to
Mm-hmm.
this. And I don't know we just get one lump sum. I don't know how much money we're making from any episode, but we will make a donation as
Yes.
well. We will just pick a number and make a monetary donation to High Country Humane, because I thought this whole scene was just really touching.
Yeah. Well, and we learned that Logan has patches.
Mm-hmm.
So now Logan has 4 cats. I didn't realize he was a cat person. And Gabe has Cathew,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I guess, his first cat.
Okay.
And the big one, I think the
The big
oldest.
gray, dark
And then
gray
who
one.
had the youngest one?
Um,
The one he had just adopted. I
I wrote
couldn't
it
figure out where
down.
that cat went. Went
Let's
with
see.
someone in the
Okay.
family.
Kathu. Oh yeah. Well, Miss Buttons is the one
Oh, yeah.
that he got and he adopted her just like 2 weeks before he died. I can't remember, but they all went to somebody in the family, I
Mm-hmm.
believe. I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't. But yeah.
So,
And then at the end they showed, and one of the things I liked about this episode also is throughout they were showing a lot more photos and videos. And there was
mm-hmm.
one photo towards the beginning of Janelle and Cody and their children together in a photo and it has the 3 boys and 3 oldest boys in front. And they're
Mm-hmm.
probably like, Logan's probably like 10. They're like 10, 9, 8. Anyway, I'd never seen that picture before. And they're just such a cute family,
Mm-hmm.
It's just like you look at them, and Cody had the short hair and he had these little glasses on. And Janelle looked, all professional. She had her professional clothes and her haircut and glasses and everything. It's like, what a cute family.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just, no. Uh,
Yeah.
and then at the end, they show this was on one of the seasons of Sister Wives where when Garrison returns home from basic training,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all living in the cul-de-sac, and they're all excited, like, Garrison's coming home, he's coming home, and they're getting everything ready. And I think that's when Cody tried to hang the lights up again. You remember, like, after the commitment ceremony, those lights, he wanted to put them up again. So of course he was busy all day putting the lights up and couldn't help anyone. And Janelle's
Mm-hmm.
trying to cook, and everybody's there. And Garrison comes home, and like the hugs, and just so happy to see his family, and
Mm-hmm.
hugging everybody, and everyone was so happy. That was
Yeah.
something to see.
Yeah.
So I guess we're going to continue next week. I think there's only maybe a couple episodes left
Maybe
before the
2 more.
telepause. I think 2 more.
So yeah. So maybe
Next week would probably be the funeral and this family reunion. And then I would imagine they'd have one final episode sort of wrapping up
Mm-hmm.
the season and
Yeah.
what everyone's doing or where they're going.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Oy.
I don't know, but I think, uh, like I said, I'm proud of them for, putting this all out there. That's a lot.
Yeah. Because you're right. They did not have to. It was not, yes, they are on a show where they um are following their lives. But I do think that when it comes to this kind of thing, there are lines, there are points at which not everything needs to be revealed. And the fact that they're willing to show that. And I think it is going to help. My guess would be is they're doing it because they feel like we want to help someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you can see from this, and this is the part that is so confusing, is he was in this nursing program, right? Mm-hmm. There was a place for you to go. I was just doing a talk on suicide prevention, and there's these theories of like what's the combination of these feelings that get people to take their own lives. And one is, a feeling of not belonging, thwarted belongingness. And it's like, well, he was belonging, he he had purpose. He had somewhere that he was going. He had the cat now. Now he has even more of a purpose of where he's going. And I think that this is the part that is so tricky, is even though maybe he did not have any of those warning signs, it was I think sometimes there's these combinations of having a deadly weapon and alcohol and just this, I'm not being flippant about it saying, oh, he just had one low moment, but it really was like, this really was something that I feel like, I could be wrong, was very impulsive, very, very, very impulsive. And I think that if he could have gotten through that night, I think he would have woken up the next day and been in a different place. That's all.
Well, yeah. And the family has said that they did ask him to give them all of his weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought that there were no weapons in the house, but obviously he kept one.
Yeah.
And, there's a book, I don't know the name of it, but I've heard it referenced many times over the years, where this man, he jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge trying to commit suicide.
I know this. I know what you're talking about.
And he lived. And so he decided there's a handful of other people who have jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge and lived. He decided to track them all down and talk to them. And he wrote this book about, how they got there and what they were thinking. And every single one of them said the minute they jumped, they felt regret.
Yeah.
And they wish they hadn't.
Yeah.
And himself included. That's why he went on this quest. So, yeah, I think that there is this impulsivity that, and so that is confusing to people, because they think that the person really, truly always, and sometimes it's true. sometimes it's not, like really truly thought about it and thought it through and planned it and was very sure about it. I don't know how many cases that really is the truth.
Yeah.
I think it is an impulsive act that you can't take back.
And I think that there are certain things like he had access to something that would be instantaneous. So if he had just pills, he might have taken the pills and then, oh my God, what am I doing? And then he could call 911 or something. Mm-hmm. Like this is so immediate, like done. And alcohol is another one that is also going to change you, and it depresses you. And also there's this other piece of believing that the world would be better off without you. Like no one would miss me. No one would care. No one would do any of that. And that's that other thing too, where I think that it's very easy to, if you've already struggled with depression, and even though you're in a higher place, struggling with depression, convincing yourself there's no one cares, I don't belong. And then, and then you're drinking, it's just a very deadly combination. And you can't, if Garrison lied to them and said, oh, here are all my weapons, and he kept one, how are they to have known that?
Yeah, no, they didn't know.
How was anyone to know that?
Yeah.
But yeah. So yes, our heart goes out to you. We will donate money to the Humane Society.
Country
Humane Society.
In Flagstaff.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining us.
Should I wrap this up? If you enjoy us and want more content from us, go check us out on Patreon. You can follow us, subscribe to the podcast. Please leave us a 5-star rating and review. Follow us on social media. And I think that's it. We'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.